All right, welcome everyone, our chamber members and the general public. My name is Twila Walkeden and I'm the Executive Director of the Weyburn Chamber of Commerce. Today we've started a new series on our YouTube channel, and this is where we bring in these very uncertain times of COVID-19, some of our local professionals to try to maybe make sense of what's going on in our world. And today I'd like to welcome Reid Anderson. Reid is a senior manager at MNP here in Weyburn. I'm sure he's a familiar face to many of you. So Reid and I are gonna talk about just some things that are available through the federal government that our local businesses may be able to take advantage of. So thank you for joining us today, Reid. We really appreciate it. Today, first of all, Reid, there are many different programs that have been released in the last week or so from the federal government, and we've been watching very interestingly to see what's going on with that. First, can you tell us about some different stimulus packages? Let's start with the WorkShare program. In your opinion, maybe who can take advantage of that, or what's the benefit that some of our employers can get from the WorkShare program?
Absolutely, Twila. And I think a big part of this WorkShare program, this one, it might not be necessarily part of the stimulus package, but this is more of, it's almost like a grant application, you could say. Whereas if you know your business is going to be down, and anybody qualifies for this, it pretty much is all encompassing. And what it allows you to do is reduce work hours for your employees, any number of employees, and instead of having them work, say, 3 days a week and then just be flat out laid off and earning nothing, it's a three-way agreement between the employee, the employer, and Service Canada, where EI can come in and backfill basically 40% of your time. You know, you employ or you keep the person employed for 60% of the time, and EI can come in and backfill it. So it's a pretty significant undertaking to go through the process, but that's an area that we can certainly help out with. And we don't really know how long this is going to be ongoing. So this is a strong program to consider. And really, it just allows employees that don't need to be laid off permanently or for an extended period of time. There's still work to do, and EI can come in and help out with this WorkShare agreement.
Yeah. Sounds like a really good option. You know, a lot of businesses are just looking, I think, on a lot of different websites and you know, trying to navigate the waters themselves. And like you say, I think this is where MNP and some of our other local professionals can really give you a hand and try to navigate through these really difficult waters right now. I guess the question that I might ask, Reid, is what's the difference between WorkShare and EI?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in this case, so EI, if you qualify, you've paid into it, you're generally going to get about 55% coverage on your wage. So let's say, for example, we have someone that earns $160 a day. Let's just keep it real simple. So that would be $800 a week. If you were to lay that person off, in other words, say they work 3 days a week and then they're laid off permanently, now we're down to $480 a week for this employee. And if they're flat out laid off and they don't have that WorkShare program backing it up, so you're just down to you're down to $88 a day. So it's pretty limited. But if this WorkShare program comes in, you get your $160 a day, say, for 3 days, and then EI can come in with your $88 a day for the last 2 days. So you can end up under WorkShare earning $656 a week, kind of, you know, in that 75% range of your gross, instead of basically a layoff in WorkShare, which can be down close to a third or 25%. So there's really not a significant, I think the biggest difference would be between WorkShare and EI is the fact that the employer keeps you on the payroll for at least a significant portion of your wage still.
Right. And so if I was a business owner, what would be the biggest recommendation that you would give me right now in terms of navigating you know, around some of these obstacles? Would you say I should go in and probably get an account with CRA and you know, make sure that you're set up you know, in that system?
Absolutely. You know, even with this one, I know an application can be done outside of those channels, but 100%, you know, my business account for your businesses, my individual account, or my CRA account for individuals, you know, go to the CRA website. We can provide links to those sites, of course. I believe we might even be sharing them already. And just have those accounts in place, because it's going to make your life a lot easier. Whether it's through a Service Canada type program like this, or just generally accessing your information, personal, business, or otherwise. It definitely makes things a lot easier. And CRA has really been pushing that for years now, but this is really forcing the issue because, you know, they're having staffing issues just like everybody else as far as people being, you know, being able to be on the phone and stuff like that. So they're really focusing on the digital options at this point.
Good. Thank you. Let's just transition a little bit into, you know, some of the news that came out on this past Friday. And as well, maybe a little bit of clarification today from the Prime Minister on the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy Program. So that wage subsidy where workers qualify, they will have up to 75% of their salary covered on the first $59,000 earned in income. Your opinion on that? You know, I think, in my opinion, I was, you know, I saw it as a really great step that the federal government's making. That jump from 10 to 75 was extremely substantial. So
Yes.
I would be interested to hear your feedback on that.
Yeah, they've every change they make seems to be a step in the right direction as far as I'm concerned. I know we spoke briefly about how it was more for smaller businesses and people that didn't exceed that large capital threshold. But I mean, I'm reading a quote from Trudeau right now. It says, doesn't matter if you have 10 employees or 1,000 employees, everybody qualifies. So, you know, that was good to see because it really shouldn't matter because that was a concern we had. You know, some people qualify as a small business one year and then the next year they get bigger and they don't anymore. Was it going to be based on the prior year? So it was just creating more questions. So I think he just realized that we can't do this anymore. Every business, non-for-profit, charity, pretty well anybody with a payroll number. I know I'm still a little bit concerned that sole proprietors, unincorporated individuals, that was something that didn't appear to be on the list, but I believe that's going to get rectified. So, you know, I can't say for certain, I can't quote that those businesses are covered, but I expect that they will be. I feel like it's just a one fix after the next to make it work. And this frankly is the most important one. I mean, I did want to talk about the work share one because it's unique and it is an opportunity to take advantage of EI when you otherwise couldn't. But this 75% wage subsidy, now that everybody qualifies, like this work share would have been is great for large employers. The more employees, the more benefit you're going to get. But now that every business qualifies for this wage subsidy, or for all intents and purposes, every business does, that'll be the most important one to get on. And I think I know QuickBooks Online has came out with patches to help with the calculation. It's not an overly difficult calculation. Suffice it to say that the subsidy is on the federal and provincial taxes that are withheld that you would otherwise calculate. That's where the subsidy is calculated, and you can pull that amount off and remit the lower amount. And my understanding is even if you're unaware of your qualifications, because like you and I were talking about before, the one new thing was the 30% drop in business, right?
Yeah.
Or in revenue, I should say.
Yeah.
For some businesses, they're going to know right away, yeah, I'm going down by 30%. There's no questions. I have no concerns. I'll remit the lower amount. But if you are uncertain, maybe you have been keeping some work, things haven't slowed down immediately, and you're not sure about that 30% threshold, by all means, if you've got the cash flow, you can keep paying the full amount of your remittances. This is a retroactive program. It's back to, I believe it's back to March 1st now. It was the 15th before.
Yeah.
So you should be able to apply for the subsidy at a later time, get that benefit, and whether that's a credit to your payroll account in the future or requested refund, those options are going to be available. So again, if you're uncertain and you don't want to risk it, you can keep paying your full premiums, or your remittances, pardon me. But otherwise, you can take those calculations and
So, to people like you, you make it sound easy, but I'm sure people like me and small business owners, they're having a real challenge right now navigating through some of these waters. So we wanted to let, businesses know and our chamber members know that there's professionals out there like Reed at M&P and, lots of other businesses in Weyburn that can help you with, some of these confusing times, because I'm sure this time again next week things will change again. So I really appreciate it, Reed. I think we've gained a lot of knowledge just from the short time that we've spoken today. So everyone, please stay tuned. The chamber is going to be having a series like this where we talk to some professionals and some different business owners in Weyburn that have some really good pieces of advice and insight. So thank you very much again, Reed. And stay tuned, everybody, and stay safe out there, and we'll get through this on the other end. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out, guys.